welcome to ET Studios AI Horizons in association with ETCIO. I'm your host Shilpa Ratnam, and in today's episode, we are going to be discussing the impact of AI in the manufacturing sector. And who better to discuss that than Navin Nathani, who heads IT transformation and value creation at Hindalco, which is a part of the Aditya Birla Group. Hello and welcome, Navin.
Thank you, Shilpa.
Thank you so much for taking your time out to be on our show today. Now, you to be a market leader nowadays, you have to adopt AI to stay ahead of the curve, right? So at Hindalco, how do you do that in a strategic manner?
Sure. Thank you, Shilpa. I'm glad to be part of the ETCIO community. So let me just start. I think over the last couple of months, we have heard a lot about large language models, LLMs, ChatGPT, which has been very famous. So it has really taken the entire world by storm, and you see that people who want to travel, they are planning their vacations using ChatGPT.
Yes, you do the itinerary. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly, that's right. And then if you want to automate a couple of your business processes, you think about ideas, you want to generate that. So all of that is being done using the power of generative AI. That is. So I am Naveen. I head the IT transformation and value creation at Hindalco Industries, which is part of the Birla Group. So what is generative AI all about, or AI all about? So just going a little back into history, this was a term coined by the people at Stanford who were doing the research. What they used to call this is foundational models. What are these models? These models were earlier trained to perform a specific set of tasks, but now they can perform diverse set of tasks that are there. So it traverses across multiple industries or across multiple use cases that is there. And I think the ability of generative AI in order to predict what would be the next word coming into your sentence has been a very powerful medium and exercise, for organizations and enterprise who want to drive significant business value, for enterprises. And I think in that context, I think all of us across the world are looking at how artificial intelligence can be enabled within the manufacturing organization. So let me take a couple of use cases on how we have implemented artificial intelligence along with a combination of machine learning and Industry 4.0 in order to really transform our business processes. So we have a downstream process, what we call as the foils. So typically you would use wrap foils in your kitchen, right, in order to pack food, etc. That's there. Now, what happens in the entire manufacturing process is that you can know the quality of the foil only after it has been manufactured, right? Can you get a preemptive view or a predictive view to say that what would be the quality that would come in?
I would imagine you have some sort of algorithm already in place, perhaps?
Exactly, that's right. So I think this is where the power of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and Industry 4.0 comes into the picture, where what we are trying to do is we are saying that if you want to generate a certain percentage of a quality of a coil or a foil, the certain inputs or parameters have to be designed in such a way, and that can be predicted using artificial intelligence.
Okay, so instead of like trial and error method, you can have the predictive analysis to do something that is more concrete.
Perfect, that's right. So that's one way through which you can reduce the quality issues that are there, the non-conformances within your quality process. The other way is that you can use AI and vision analytics in order to really see that when you're producing your foils, what are really those batches or gaps or issues within the quality of the foil that is there. So that's another way through which we have enabled. So we use a platform called as VEDA, which is Video-Enabled Decisions and Alerts. Basically, this is a platform that leverages image and vision analytics in order to really process what part of the foil or the coil is really having some issues in the manufacturing. So those are two use cases what I think about right now that have been of a significant value. The other part where we have implemented a combination again of AI and ML has been in the area of optimizing our energy efficiency within our smelter processes that are there. So smelters are nothing but, think about large pressure cookers, which are cooking aluminium continuously at a certain temperature. So this temperature, what I'm talking about, is about 1000 degrees Celsius. And therefore the amount of energy throughput that you need for something like this is very high.
Yeah, absolutely. A normal pressure cooker only has 120 degrees
Yes,
maximum.
exactly.
And then,
now, how do you make sure that your energy efficiency is to the maximum so that you push the right amount of heat to alumina so that it gets converted into the right molten metal? So using AI ML, we are able to see the process parameters on this platform, which enables us to really see that whether the molten metal is really getting cooked at the right temperature. So I think these are really kind of what you call as edge analytics use cases, along with artificial intelligence and machine learning that we are using.
Now, I'm also curious, is AI used in supply chain and logistics as well?
Yes, I think there have been a lot of use cases, especially when we talk about the logistics as well. Like, for example, there are areas where you want to transport goods from one place to another, and then how do you really predict that the goods are getting delivered on time? Because at the end of the day, customers like you and me, when we, let's say, place an order with Amazon, what we expect is a 24-hour delivery. Now, how do you really ensure that the 24-hour delivery happens? So I think organizations like Amazon are significantly using artificial intelligence in order to predict, the right maps in order to transport goods from one place to another. The shortest route, that could really enable it. So I think there are many such use cases.
Oh, all right. So across the spectrum, right? And what about customer experience? I'm sure AI is forming a big part of that as well.
Exactly. I think you and me, we both are not away from that specter where we continuously use. So, like, for example, you use everything you need data immediately. Like, for example, if you're reaching out to a customer service team, you need information immediately. So I think in the customer experience, I think there are a lot of ways through which you can do it. So one of the ways is how can you really predict that a customer will get the order on time. What we call in the industry parlance as DIFOT, delivery in full on time. So that is one strong use case which helps us to track the DIFOT parameters that are there, and therefore using artificial intelligence along with automation. It's actually a combination of multiple technologies together that can be really leveraged to improve customer experience. The other way is around how can you really predict customer behavior. Think about how you use Netflix, Amazon. It recommends certain instances of products that you should buy. Like, for example, in the US, the most popular use case is when you play a basketball match. Typically, what people noticed was that at the shelves of a supermarket, they would keep a packet of diaper along with beers.
Oh, okay.
Because typically what would happen is that when fathers would like to watch a match, they want to pick up all of these things together so that when they're watching a match, they're not getting disturbed. So I think all of that has been possible because of a combination of artificial intelligence and machine learning.
But that sounds more like human intelligence to me, to be able to predict this, you know?
But I think the ability, if you were to think about it, is that typically when you look at FMCG organizations, you would always stack products under a certain category. Like, for example, you will never think about keeping a diaper with a
Never.
You would always say, with diapers, I can have baby products, shampoos,
powder or
something.
And everything,
right? So I think that is really enabling a seamless customer experience. Now think about a customer walking into a supermarket and he finds these two things right in the front, and it just takes 2 minutes for him to check out. And even during the checkout process, the entire process is again enabled without humans, where you're talking about someone walking in and there is automatically the person's persona created into the system, and you walk out and automatically your Amazon balance gets deducted. So I think, isn't that cool?
It is very cool. Life is easier. But you just said without humans, right? That's a big concern for many people as soon as AI enters the industry, especially heading an IT transformation, value creation. I'm sure this is a problem you have to grapple with. How do you assure people that, hey, you're not dispensable? We're just cutting out slack in the sense that we're trying to automate processes. We're not trying to remove people.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's a great point that you've made, Shilpa. I think what I would ask would be that, we heard a similar buzz during robotics process automation during the RPA time when people spoke about that automation will take over all your tasks and you will be left jobless. Did that happen? No, it didn't, right? I think similar is the analogy that I would apply to the artificial intelligence as well, where it is automating your tasks which are very repetitive in nature. And I think that is really the power that is there. And what it is also doing is it is enabling value for people to move up the value chain. So, like for example, people who were earlier doing very basic tasks can be given some more value added work, which could be more insight driven, which really helps them to think differently, which not a machine can do. So I think one way is, constantly put the confidence and trust within the organization to say that artificial intelligence can optimize, transform processes, make it more efficient, and it can also, at the same point in time, enable you to be more of a change agent within the organization.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, right? You move up the value chain by giving tasks that you can automate to the machine. So, absolutely. But when it comes to AI, along with the pros, there are some challenges as well, right? That you have to cross to get to the pros. What are those hurdles that you faced?
Yeah. So, I think the best part I like about generative AI has been, the ability to compute across a large data set, and the performance is significantly higher as compared to what you could do earlier. I think that's been a significant benefit, and I think a lot of us today use ChatGPT, OpenAI, Lambda, and other models because we really know that the outcome will be very quick. Now, I think while I would say there are pros, but there are cons as well. I think one is the compute and the performance is significantly expensive as compared to a traditional automation process that you are working upon. So I think there are challenges because I think it's all about economies of scale. It's all about that how can you make sure that your maximum throughput happens at a minimum cost. So I think that's one big challenge when I think about high compute, which is a con that is there. I think the second part is regarding the biasness of the data. All right, now think about these large data sets. You really do not know the diversity and what data sources or what sources is the data coming from. So there is a lot of biasness of data, and I think in the recent news we heard a couple of stories around on that part. So I think people are aware about that biasness that is there, and I think the third part I frankly feel is that it's all about applying intelligence to solving a business problem. So when I say that, what it really means, you don't need to over engineer. You would have some use cases through which a regular automation can fantastically work. So therefore, it's all about making sure that you have a right blend of the problems that can be solved using artificial intelligence rather than trying to force fit artificial intelligence into solving problems.
And when it comes to AI adoption in companies, do you find it's necessary to upskill people before the organization adopts it at a wide scale?
I think Shilpa, you have just hit on the nail. I would say because I think if you do not skill people in today's age, which is where the technology is moving at a very rapid pace, you would be left behind, and therefore you would lose out on what we call as a competitive advantage. So I think as organizations are maturing, they are realizing the power of digital post COVID. Organizations have stepped up significantly. You would see anywhere a spend of almost about 0.5 to 1% on upskilling people because you think about technologies like cloud, you look at data science, you look at AI, ML, neural networks, and I think these are technologies which need a massive amount of upskilling. I think what has happened along with this upskilling has also been where academia and institutions have stepped in to say that how can we really have graduates coming in with the right knowledge so that it can be a quick plug and play, for organizations rather than taking up to the entire curve of upskilling and then waiting for them to perform. So I think these are a couple of ways through which people are looking at upskilling.
When it comes to the pros of AI, what would you say so far in your experience, considering that you work so closely with it, what is the biggest positive impact it's had?
I think the biggest change has been the entire efficiency that has come within the enterprises. because you're looking at automating a significant amount of repetitive processes, which otherwise would be dependent upon humans. Uh, I think the efficiency game has been significantly higher. I have seen a lot of organizations that have had a positive impact of almost about 25 to 30% on their productivity. Because today you are not dependent on humans to do those tasks, and now it's all being done on an AI generated engine that is there. I think that I can give one example in context with that would be uh, at large plants, large manufacturing plants, you would typically see a lot of incidents regarding fire and oil leakages, etc. That is there. Imagine a team of people looking at continuously monitoring that data, which can directly be automated using an AI vision analytics, and which throws which just tells you an alert saying that there is an oil leakage that has happened in a certain section of your plant, and all you have to do is just ensure that there are boundaries that are created and the plant workers are informed.
But it's been so enriching to talk to you, Naveen. I've had a great bird's eye view of how AI is being used in manufacturing. It's so interesting indeed. I'm sure you get this a lot, that people are always surprised that even in manufacturing, it's had such a big impact.
Yes. I think it's all about applying intelligence here, and it's all about making sure that you're constantly on the edge of embracing newer technologies, because I think without the change, humans will be restless. So I'm looking forward to the entire artificial intelligence journey and seeing how it can really transform manufacturing organizations across the world.
Thank you so much for your time today and for shedding light on that. And thank you so much for watching our show on how AI is impacting manufacturing. Now, if you're curious about how AI is impacting other sectors, remember to stay tuned to AI Horizons.